Hello everybody. Today we will talk about data sharing between Wave controllers and using navigation controller. This is our second lesson, and we will choose today to use Visual Studio Mac. Now we will create a new application. I will give the name my project. I create my project. The difference than yesterday lesson, when I create an application in Visual Studio Mac, it's automatically create a view controller, and on storyboard there's a ready view controller. No problem, we can delete it and we can remove this class. I will drag a view controller on my storyboard. Because of being first view controller, it's automatically set it as an initial view. I will give the name controller. The identity section has storyboard ID. Storyboard ID is important for finding an view on the storyboard from backside of. So we need to give a name to this view controller. No matter how you can understand or how you want to reach a UI view controller on storyboard, I give main view controller to my view controller. After this says save it. I need to drag a new view controller on my storyboard, and I will give a name child view controller. For finding or create an instance, I will give a storyboard ID. After this says save. This is my parent and this is my child view. So I will use a button in my parent view and change the width and give a name, for example save, and change the text save. After creating button, I will drag a label to my child view, change the width and save this. I will give a name, for example data. When I click this save button, I want to navigate my view screen, or I want to navigate my application to child view controller, and I want to migrate an information to child view. I want to push a new information, for example When I create a login UI view, I set the credentials or login information to my login view and say to login. If any confirmation or any other types of action you want to take, you can navigate to child view. There are lots of steps what you want to use. I will double click my button and I want to navigate to child view. So I have to create a new instance. For example, child view equals. How can I create an instance? We can create an instance finding UI view controller on storyboard with storyboard ID. So storyboard that initialize view controller. It says what is the storyboard ID. I come to my child view controller and copy the storyboard ID and paste it here and says as child view controller. This is my instance. So when I create an instance, I can reach all of the information, but I will go to my child view controller and create a property, for example string data property. You can change the properties as how you want. When I go to main view controller, data property comes here and hello dot now to string. Okay, I fill the property and now I need to navigate to child view. So navigation controller that push view. What is our view controller? I say child view and the overload says we can animate it. Okay, animate it and that's all. We can navigate from main view control to child view controller, but we will get an error because navigation controller will be null. I start application, no problem. Our simulator will appear. Yes, save button. When I click, it says navigation controller is null. Okay, no problem. Because of not using a navigation controller on my storyboard, navigation controller help us to navigate between view controllers. By default, as you see, when I drag a navigation controller to on my storyboard, there is a root view controller, and this is a navigation controller. But I will change the root view controller by deleting it. Select this view controller and remove it, and I will set it here, and I will mark it as a initial view controller. Is it initial? Yes, it is initial. And I need to say to my navigation controller, this is your root view controller. I press the control key on my keyboard and click the mouse and start to drag. There's a line, a blue line, and it says, is that your root view controller? I press up and it says, is it root or show detail? I say this is my root controller, because navigation controller will start and navigate to root controller, and I can easily navigate my main controller to any child controller. So now I will start my application again, and when I click the save button, it navigates to my child view. It's very easy, but in my storyboard I will select my label and goes to child view controller class and override the view did override view did load. When view did load, set the text data property to my label. Okay, run again. In my main view controller, when button save clicked, I create an instance, set the data hello datetime.now. Okay, great, created very well. Create it again. Time always changes. It's very easy, and you can navigate your view to child view very easily. I want to say you can also push view controller or navigation controller dot present view controller and model present model view controller. Both of the actions are changed, but that says this is deprecated. You can use present view controller instead of this method. You can use also it, no problem. That's all. We talked about navigation controller, how to navigate from parent to child, and how to pass data from parent to child view controller. our next lesson we will talk about this area, frame editing and constraint editing mode. I want to talk about a little bit the design. If you want to design your views, you can use controllers, and you can set the width, height, and the position of the controller on your view. So we will talk about this our next video. The constraint editing mode is very important because it will create a equal position for each devices. Our next video we will talk about it. Have a nice day. Thank you for watching this video.